Hello and welcome back to War Thunder, to the revisit of the M103. Now, with the last revisit on the Conqueror, I think I made a very good first revisit on the Conqueror in terms of telling a story. The M103 follows basically the very same gun tank concept as the Conqueror, but within War Thunder it behaves differently. So I think when I was pointing out various issues and things that I'm not okay with the Conqueror, that it is very limited in a lot of ways. When you look at the M103, it looks similar with the same caliber of the main gun, same reload, but effectively on the battlefield, this is an absolute monstrosity and simply straightforward one of my most loved tanks within War Thunder. It is a rather old tank within the game, but nevertheless, I think it's an absolute beast. It is not completely overpowered, of course, and it also faces some issues, but overall, when you really want to rely on it, when you want it to perform, it does. And this is what I absolutely love about the M103, that it is simple, reliable, and it can do the heavy tank job. And not just, and this is very funny, can it do the heavy tank job of frontline brawling, of taking damage, absorbing it, and also sending back damage, which the Conqueror struggles with. Funnily enough, and this is very bizarre for all the people that point out that I play certain tanks wrong, even at camping and long-range engagement, it is far superior, in my books, to the Conqueror. Yes, you have heard right. This thing completely outclasses the Conqueror in a majority of things that you can think about. It is stock grind friendly, it's straightforward, it can absorb the damage. It is just very nice to drive. Yet, if you play it poorly, you get punished for it. And I think this is how a tank should be. When driven correctly, you should get rewarded for it. If you play it in a very bad way, you should get punished for it. And I think this is how you can sum up the M103. Now let's have a quick look at every single aspect that I really like about this tank. First of all, your armor. Your hull is decently sloped and you can ricochet a lot of AP and APHE rounds. Heat rounds will very often go through, but deal not that much damage. The lower glacis is a bit more vulnerable to AP shots and APHE shots, but again, it is not a ginormous big area, and from here on you will ricochet shots. So the actual death zone for the lower glacis is so much smaller than the lower glacis on, let's say, the Conqueror. The upper hull is equally, if not stronger. Yes, you have a weak spot here around the driver's hatch, but I think the Conqueror is also not the most armored tank at around about this area. You have some weak spots on the cheeks. You have also cupola, but it doesn't really work the same way, and nobody really shoots at the rangefinders with APHE shots. From the side, it's a huge target. That turret is just gigantic. I think it rivals a Target 2. And also the hull on the side, 44mm, a lot of AAA. I think all the AAAs will go through with armor-piercing shot. And yeah, also from the top, it is very vulnerable with 38 and 25mm respectively. I think I have been very often killed by ME262s with the 50mm gun and rockets and bombs and so forth. But the same happened to me in the Conqueror as well. Yet I can at least defend myself with this 50 cal. And I also can spot targets, fire over ridgelines, blind the enemy, and also deal with potato trucks without actually having to switch ammunition to go through the 15.8 second reload for my expert crew. Again, same reload as the Conqueror. You have 1 degree more of gun depression than the Conqueror. You have, if I'm not mistaken, a faster turret rotation speed, nearly 15 compared to nearly 23 degrees of turret traverse. Your horsepower to ton ratio is making you not a slouch. You actually also can maneuver on ridge lines to poke over them and then retreat to reload, which the Conqueror, when you try to turn on the ridge line, good luck with that. Technically it's 1 km/h faster, and it is actually a bit faster in reverse, but I gladly make those trade-offs, and that's just the armor. Now let's look at the interior, and you can see 5 crew members instead of just 4, and they're more spread out. And you can easily be ammo-racked from the front, but also you can drastically reduce this by taking out a lot of the ammunition. Half of this is way more than enough in the majority of cases, and so you can survive certain shots, which the Conqueror has some difficulties. Again, the crew is spread out. The next thing though is, well, the ammunition. First of all, we have 4 shell types, of which 2 are not that important. The tier 4 smoke shell is not really that important. You may take 1 or 2 with them to smoke up enemy positions at long ranges, to cover an open field, you know, but 25 seconds of smoke screen hold time, at least you can go through an entire reload. The HE shell, 39 instead of 36 millimeters compared to the Russian 122 or the German 128 millimeters. It's a little gimmick, but as a tier 2 upgrade, you get the heat shell with 380 millimeters of raw penetration at any distance, making it much better to use at distance compared to the APDS of the Conqueror. The post-penetration damage is fairly standard for such a caliber of heat shell, and the muzzle velocity is with 1143 meters per second acceptable. But what really makes this tank awesome is the buffed M358 shot. It was around about 1.5 years ago where this was the first shell that really received that post-penetration damage effect buff to all armor-piercing shells. Later on, with the introduction of the French Tech 3, which also featured the same shell on the Survivability and Foch tanks, you know, with either better armor or quicker reload, depending on which tank you look. 303 millimeters of raw penetration, making it so much better in terms of dealing with enemies than the German 128 millimeter. The post-penetration damage is different, and you have to learn to aim with it to its maximum effect, but it deals a lot of damage. It's not just this, you know, death by 1,000 picks with the APDS from the Conqueror. This is one massive steel hammer going through the enemy and gutting the entirety of the tank. It is just such an enormous, painful shell for the enemy to receive. It's not an APHE shell, so for side shots you still have to aim carefully or invest 1 or 2 shots. But from the front, you very often can one-shot enemies with ease. With this shell, you can punch through the entire length of a Yak Tiger and one-shot it. Same with a Tiger 2. Tanks that where you normally with other shell types, you really have to pick apart the enemy. And this is just so much straightforward. So it has a good stock grind. The stock shell is awesome. It's actually the shell that I use in 95% of all shots. And if you look at the battle rating, compare this to the M47, to the M48 and M60 series of tanks, including the Magach and all the other high-tier stock grind trash bullshit. Sorry about the word, but it's really very, very painful. And funnily enough, if you now look at the M60 and the stock APDS round, it has 303 millimeters of penetration and 123 millimeters against 60 degrees of angle of attack. And if you now look at the M103, it has 125 millimeters, so it even has better normalization against angle. It has the caliber to overmatch or interact with the armor. And if you then look at the M60A1 AOS, 260 millimeter on the stock APDS. I'm not sure what's going on, but you know, that is a really awesome gun. I absolutely love the tank. It's straightforward, it's rewarding, it's fun to play, and I use this tank to research the XM803 instead of any sort of the premium tier 5 premium tank garbage. No, with this one. And I actually should honor the tank one day with a talisman, because it's just so much fun and so rewarding. Yeah, high repair cost, 12,000 silver lines. Nevertheless, I wouldn't trade it with anything. I mean, the stock grind is straightforward and easy, and the tank is just an absolute monster on the battlefield. Yeah, I think that's it. Let's have a look at some of the, well, game footage that I have for you. So first scene here is against an aircraft, and it's a Pultzerstörer armed with the 50mm, and he actually destroyed my engine before. I miss him with the main gun, but actually take him down with the 50 cal and killed the threat that was, well, threatening me. So I don't think that I could do the very same in a Conqueror, to be honest. And then look at how I can deal with the enemy. There is an IS-6 behind the wagon, and I just aim here, expect where he goes, and straight through the angled side plating, which you cannot do with a Jagdtiger shell in the same fashion. Or the Conqueror, would it deal the same damage? Well, I doubt it. Next customer. This is a Panther 2, and again, at that angle, to kill the track and the transmission, he doesn't shoot back. And even if he does, he has to know where he could aim and not just, panning the lower glacis. Then I shoot him with a second shot just on the turret, blow up the ammunition. No, actually, well, I blew up the ammunition and killed all the crew with one shot. And again, shooting here through the wagon. Nothing that you could do with a HESH shell or an APDS, well, at least with the first shot, and deal the same amount of damage. Third customer, Type 61. Thank you very much. And that spalling damage I definitely could not have done with the APDS. Next scene here is taking damage. I celebrated the tank so much, now I actually need to prove it, right? First of all, let's obligatory blow up here a Leopard. It's just a Leopard there, falling apart. And then I receive heat rounds. I don't know if you hear the sizzling, but I get shot. I repair. So far it was an engine hit. I extinguished the one fire. Nothing really spectacular, right? But the important part comes now. So while I repair, I reload the gun, look into that direction, and then try to get into cover. But I want to go forwards, and I'm not quite sure if I guaranteed a kill on the Leopard with the Conqueror. It's not just about, I aimed at the wrong pixel, the accuracy of the gun, relying on a roll with the dice from the RNG gods. No. This is raw AP power. This is just straight for satisfying damage dealing. Now, in this clip, I want to show the survivability and what the armor can take, and how much crew you can lose, and how much it takes the enemy to take you down. So here I'm in the cap. I'm going aggressively in. I don't care, and I received the first shot, and there is an object Nano 6, and my shot, well, just exactly goes into the right direction, but he retreated, and now I'm doomed to his autoloader, and the heat shells are coming in. I mark him. Sadly, I cannot make the penetration on the hull sideways. He's in a very, very good spot, but at least I can keep him spotted, and I absorb the damage. The shell bounces, the shell do not really penetrate, and I think this is really satisfying. The Magach then kills the object Nano 6, and I'm still here. I'm repairing. I've lost just one crew member so far, and it does not really affect. Okay, I lost the 50 cal, but when you take that much damage, you get penned that often, or you get shot, then I'm willing to make the trade. Now my gun breach gets taken out, and repeatedly the heat shots come in, and I don't really mind. Oh, that was really nasty. Down to 3 crew members. Last time that I can activate the fire extinguisher. A shame that I don't have an upgraded module, right? Yeah, it is not there with this patch. Let's see how long it takes. Then I receive a shot from the right, and then finally the Leopard 1 takes me out with a heat shell. And now watch this. So I finished already a T-34-100. There is an IS-6, and I shoot through the fence and got him with one shot. Ammunition blow up, but it also would have killed the crew. There is a second IS-6, and he does not know where I am. Why? Because I'm coming from their spawn right at the beginning. And yeah, I could absorb a shot from this guy. He can't from me though. And again, just gutting him. With APDS, maybe he would have survived. Maybe I would not have dealt any damage at all. I don't know. I don't ask in this tank too many questions. I point the gun at the enemy, pull the trigger, and deal the damage that I expect from an armor-piercing gun. I know I know that AP is much bigger from the same caliber of gun than APDS, armor-piercing discarding saber, but people tell me that the saber penetrator has a diameter of 76mm. So you could expect the post-penetration damage effect from an armor-piercing shell from the 17-pounder. It's far from it. First customer of the day, Panther 2, and again we just got him right through. Crew kill, ammunition exploded. It doesn't really make any difference if you get the enemy at that angle. The spalling damage is enormous. I love it. Now the actual gameplay that I wanted to show you comes at the end. So it's a really awesome gameplay. Now also, not everything that shines is gold. This tank has its issue dealing with enemy tanks, and there is now a Leopard, and I tried to hit him and miss him, of course. Now I mark him for my team with the machine gun, and that is one weird hit cam. So, and we wait for the reload. Hull down this tank is also very good. I don't really see any significant advantage that he could have with the Conqueror. But now we actually damage the gun breach and kill 2 crew members. And when hitting at that exact same spot with an APDS, you just wouldn't deal the same damage. Either the entire shell would be absorbed by the gun breach, or you would kill the crew member. Not both at the very same time, except if I would have hit just a pixel more to the left. And there we go, and the spalling kills the remaining crew in the turret. Again, this shot would not have been possible with the damage output of the APDS. Again, it should have the post-penetration damage effect of, well, even a 50mm AP shot, or 57mm. But no, the post-penetration damage effect is so pitiful on the Conqueror. Now, if anybody really gets annoyed by me pointing out the differences, the tanks are on paper similar. The tanks follow the same concept, and the tanks just deal so much, well, they deal different types of damage, I guess. Maybe the Conqueror would be better versus higher tier tanks with the raw penetration power of the APDS, where then the heat penetration gets obsolete. But look at that, straight through the gun mantle, killing the gunner, killing the commander, and killing the gun breach. And now I'm just waiting to cap the point. Again, I'm pushing forwards, I'm on a front line, I receive the damage, I bounce the shots, and I deal damage. And at the end, let's just shoot straight through the lower glacis and again kill the crew by spalling damage. Again, could you have done this? Well, to be honest, you can actually shoot through the upper glacis of a Tiger II at a distance of 2 kilometers. Do you have problems with killing coalitions? Well, I don't. I just don't. Ammunition blows up, crew gets killed, AP damage, and again we bounce the shot. So now we retreat. Now here we have a limited top reverse speed of 8 kilometers an hour. That's 3 less than the Conqueror. So the Conqueror is better at French modding. Wow. You know, I'm just pointing it out because people criticize me for playing the tanks wrong. You know, I also could sit in the back and just snipe, and to be honest, I did. Now here, that shot was poorly aimed, and actually I gave the Tiger enough time to retreat and just bounce from the rooftop. The angle was just way too huge, and I have 4 kills. I have the experience, I have the silver lines from that, and I just absorbed the shot so far. And look at my climbing speed on that hill and compare that to your experience in the Conqueror. And again, then firing over the ridgeline, I have 1 degree more gun depression. That's a huge difference, right? Yeah. So then I see some action to my left, and it is again a Leopard. Ah, what a shame. He just got killed by an RU-251. No, a Stirritzwagen 81. Sorry about this. Yeah. And then we can see here the Tiger 2. And now I have this problem of the bush just blocking my view. Now where to shoot him? Well, I decide to aim for the turret. And then we just deal a lot of crew damage. We kill the commander, the loader, the gunner. And we also damage the gun breach with one shot. So he smokes up, and then I go very, very aggressively in. Now, I have to be honest, very often I die then because I go in too aggressively with this tank. I spotted another tank here on the side and just hope that I can finish them off. And again, I can bounce the shots if the shell just hits somewhere. If it is perfectly aimed, well then not much that you can do. And again, look, just 2 crew members alive, the driver and one of the loaders of this 10.5 centimeter Tiger 2 variant. So they are completely out of action and have not enough crew to repair in time. Yeah, he just moved at the very last second and I just tracked him. But he's out of action and I got a double assist streak kill. Is that even a word? Double assist. Well, that's basically what I got. 4 kills, 3 assists, but everything awesome has come to an end, and eventually I don't look to my right and I have overextended. I really think that my spider senses are tingling, but at the end I didn't see this Panther 2. He was in the dip. And now I want to show you again one scene how to deal with enemy tanks and how powerful your shell is. And this is against, you know, Jagdtiger from the side, heavily angled at distance. I don't give a damn. Just blowing them up. This is the first strike. I could continue versus the Tiger 2s. Now you might say, well, I'm sorry, but those are heavy tanks, a full battle rating lower than you. Yes, but the amount of damage that I deal with the stock shell is amazing. And if I have to face an IS-3 or an IS-4, I still could plow through just more areas than with some other tanks. And I deal more damage. And also I can switch to the heat shell and just punch right through the frontal glacis of those tanks. I think you really have to play one day purely Conqueror and one day purely M103 to feel the insane difference. There is a mouse, I take my time, and then I deal again a lot of damage. So down to 2 crew members, the transmission is taken out, so he doesn't have the best time of his life. And I'm just waiting hull down for the reload. I played with the thought of killing this RE251 or this Leopard, but eventually this, it was an RE251 as well, got taken out. So again, back to the mouse. Good night, sunshine. And I move again forward. So now I am above half of the map. And there is another Leopard, and watch this shot. So I range find it actually, because I was not quite sure how far away he is. 800 meters, and he disappears, and I actually hit the ammo rack and blow him up that way. So yeah, a nice amount of kills right away. And again, I make the very same old mistake that I do very often. First of all, I did not really spot here the ping on the minimap. I was concentrating on the fight right in front of me, and I tried to get a better hill position to shoot into the various different valleys to support my team advancing. Then I think I spotted it on the minimap, and there is another Tiger 2, and oh god, blowing up the ammunition, but it also would have been a true knockout. Again, if you don't know it, Gaijin has given the Tiger 2 the ready rack, and now the back of the turret is always full of ammunition. What a massive buff to the Tiger 2, right? Yeah. Then I see here again another target. Now I know that I'm very close to their spawn, but to be honest, it wouldn't make a difference. Oh god. Oh. The pure damage output of this armor-piercing shot is just awesome. Now I think the only tank that has the same potential aside from the Foch and the Survivability, is the T10M that nobody drives these days. Why? Because it isn't the absolute seal clover anymore. And we got here the triple strike. I wanted to actually retreat, but again, I was too greedy. And then I spotted this tank here, gun elevation speed, and I over aim here a little bit, and he just managed to go underneath my shell. And then from the side, a Jagdtiger kills me. So, next battle is actually now the awesome battle that I played. And this is a very rare occasion of me actually respawning. But first of all, what do? Well, I go again aggressively into C. Now, speed-wise, on paper, you can do this with the Conqueror as well, but I'm just so much more nimble, just making those little course corrections to just shoot the things in front of me out of the way with the heavy 50 caliber machine gun, and to also just simply go over the medium or actually bad terrain. I spotted already a tank to my right. He was flanking hard, and I'm taking here a frontline position. Now, again, very aggressive playstyle, but I also could be as successful or even more successful at camping. First of all, there is always a difference between my overall personal opinion. By the way, there is a Jagdtiger, and he screws up the shot. That gives me now enough time to reverse, to aim, and to just simply one-shot this tank from the front. Yeah. Simple, a crew knockout. So that is a lot of power that you have in this tank. And you have the armor to actually survive the reload, unlike in the Conqueror, and to absorb the damage. And this is what I so love about this tank. And another happy customer. You stole my gun, man. You stole my gun. And he actually was foolishly enough to have ammunition still down in the hull. So I blew him up, but it also would have been a crew knockout. There is now a T-54, 51 or 49, I'm not quite sure. And this shell now goes through the entire length of the tank and doesn't kill the commander. How interesting. So, yeah, I don't want to really risk it here. I'm about to reload, but he, yeah, just retreats, and now the angle is too strong, too much, and even at that angle now the shell doesn't go through because the upper frontal hull was angled more than 60 degrees, and it just was a not penetration. But it was not a bounce. So that's interesting. Not that it would make any difference. And again, here we shoot through the lower glacis of an IS-3 and deal nearly no damage. Make your own comments on that. I'm just saying that on certain tanks it causes more spoiling than on others. But I digress. Let's move in which direction? Yes, forwards. So again, this is very aggressive gameplay. Very often I get killed by that, overextending, not waiting for my team. I know that, and yet I would prefer this personally because of the fun that I have in the tank. I'm not looking here for making silver lines. You play aircraft to do that. And again, watch this shot on this heavily angled M47. Bam, dead. No questions asked. So it was a crew knockout and an ammo rack. I love this double combination, you know, just to make sure. Again, with the Conqueror, you hit the ammo rack, it just goes black and vanishes and doesn't blow up. The loader of the enemy tank just gets orange, he reloads in time, and you get one shot. Not in this tank. It's just such a magnificent tank to drive. It's just so fun. It's just awesome. I love it for that. And again, if an enemy knows the weak spot, you get killed. If you misplay, you get killed. I think more tanks should have like this kind of driving experience. And it's sadly rather rare these days. I despise the American medium tech tree line because, you know, it's such a grindy stuff. And then watch this shot on the Panther 2. It ricochets from the front, and the Panther 2 nearly had luck because I actually blew up his cannon barrel. He nearly had luck. And then I get shot into the side, and I have no idea where the enemy is. I'm reloaded right now, and I spotted this just now. Well, I don't know if you see it, but I didn't see this guy. I honestly was looking at a very different spot on the screen, and all the more hilarious it is how it will turn out. So again, I move forwards. I have no idea where he is, and I hope that he is more like on the flank and just happened to see me. And then I go around the house here, and again I bounce another shot, and I didn't see where the enemy was. So I was like, okay, I have to disappear behind that house and just try to capture the point, and then try to go back into an ambush position. So I look behind me, I look around me, I do not really lose situational awareness. This position is, I don't think that the enemy expects me here. Nice bombing of a P80 on a mouse. And again, I look around, and what is that? Is that an IS-4? Well, let's try to shot trap him with the AP shot, and it just kills the driver, which absorbs all the damage. And the gunner doesn't get killed. But he bounces the shot on me, good stuff. I reload the heat shell, and I try to stay in the cap. I definitely can beat his reload. And I capture the point and kill the IS-4, switch back to the armor piercing shot, and I was just spotting here a movement, and oh boy, that is now the T-54 that was spotting me before. The AAA shooting now the backside of my turret. He comes foolishly around the corner, and I one-shot him. Good stuff right there. And now the Kugelblitz has run out of friends. So yeah, it doesn't really look good for him, and this is very risky. Remember the 44mm of side armor? Well, he stopped firing at the very wrong moment, and I get another kill. This is now my 6th kill, and I want to repair here, but I saw another tank movement here. To be honest, the M103 looks really cool without the topping of the tracks, I have to say. I repair, it's a short 5-second repair, I can take that. Let's look around that I don't get, you know, shot in the back of the turret from the enemy spawn. That's really weird. And now somebody is pinging the map. B got decaptured, and well, one of my friends in the Super Pershing actually now captured it. And then I see something else going on, and the Super Pershing drives backwards, gets blown up. I see nothing. I know that there is a T-44. Now I see him. Goodbye, sunshine. And now I recapture B. So a lot of Russian action around B for my 7 kills. For my 7th kill. And there is a Jagdtiger, and it just happened to come around the corner. And I just... God damn it! That was a kill that really annoyed me. 3 capture zones, 7 kills, 2 kill assists. A lot of score points, and he just finds the perfect pixel on my lower glacis. So now I actually respawn. I respawn here, and I thought to myself, well, let's just wait here how the match is going, and I type it here in chat. And then funny things happened, because Gaijin decides, well, you know what? Let's just throw you into the game anyway. So that was not my action. But, you know, I didn't mind. I was playing with the thought anyways, but I just wanted to type in that message before that. So, interesting how respawn mechanics work in this game. So, a lot of action going on in the air. Somebody is blowing up his tank in the T-34-85 for whatever bizarre reason. Now I get noticed in chat after I kill like half the enemy team. And I really want to win that match. I'm playing with the thought of, you know, revenge killing that Jagdtiger, but, you know, he actually did his job. He killed me. He did a very fine job at shooting here the lower bar on the lower glacis, and now C gets contested, so I have to interfere there. There is a tank around about B. He challenges the Jagdtiger. Is that a AAA? I can't quite see it in the preview window. But I digress. I need to help out this tank that is close to C. And we must not allow the enemy to capture C, or at least kill them and then, you know, recapture it. but then that one guy gets 300 spawn points. I know that this is fairly commonly known how spawn points work. I don't like that system, but I know it. That doesn't mean that I automatically like it. So again, can you see the cross-country speed? You're actually always close to your top speed. That's actually not an enemy tank, that's just a bunch of random stuff. Now I get the marking on the minimap, he's right in C, and I just don't care. I just don't want to flank behind the house. He's on smoke, I don't give a damn, he needs to die, we need to recapture that point, and so I just go straight in, and when I am around here, I just flip my armor around, well, and before I can do that, I actually one-shot here this T-54 for my 8th kill. God, this tank is satisfying. God, I love this tank. God, it's just so simple, just center mass, pull the trigger, and it dies. Or it takes so much damage that I actually have time for the second follow-up shot. Ammunition on a regular basis actually does blow up, and not with a, you know, RNG rolls sometimes does not blow up. I don't have to switch to hash to deal more damage. And then hash also on the 120mm gun is kind of disappointing. So I know this has been a long battle so far. It has been a very, very long video, but this is one of those tanks that absolutely deserves that. A tank that is worth showing, a tank that is worth recommending. I think this tank actually ends my desire going for American tanks. After that, it's just an absolute grind fest. It's expensive and not really fun at all. So here I get now shot by a plane again, and I take quite a bit of damage. The match is about to end, and I'm looking here for another target. Planes crash. I actually wanted this P-26 to shoot at enemies and spot them, but you know, what can you do? Then I saw some movement right there, and the Kugelblitz comes out, and I just managed to hit him right behind that, and at the very end I get blown up by the very same Jagdtiger that killed me before, but it didn't count anymore. So that was a really nice match at the very end. Let's have a quick look at the results. Yeah, that is the M103 for you, a fantastic tank. 76,000 silver lions, 7,765 score points, and I had fun in that match. I was really, you know, having fun, and I have fun in many more games to come, in many more games before that, and the result with 3,805 score points in a single tank. Well, you know, I died once, but that tells you how awesome this tank is. It's good at camping, it's good at brawling, it's good at direct head-on fights, it deals damage, it's satisfying, and it's not frustrating. And this is, my friends, how a tank should be. So that's it from me today. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give a like if it did, subscribe if you want to see more. Let me know in the comment section what you think about this tank. And I know that some of you have expected me to really do a long rant on this, but I hope you're not disappointed with that video. And we'll see each other on the battlefields of War Thunder.